Welcome to the Global Gaming Business Podcast, the industry's first and longest running podcast, now in our 16th year. I'm Roger Gross, the publisher of GGB, and this week we feature a discussion with Erika Nardini, the CEO of Barstool Sports, on how the partnership with Penn National Gaming is going 18 months after it was announced. This week's podcast is supported by Konami Gaming, live demoing its latest mobile, cashless, and cardless technology during G2E next month. Welcome to the Global Gaming Business Podcast. Our guest today is the Barstool CEO, Erika Nardini. Erika, thanks for joining us today. It's good to see you.
You too.
So, your partnership with Penn is really one of the most unique sports betting partnerships in the industry. But when you joined Barstool, it was long before sports betting had been legalized. And did you guys have any really clue that was going to happen and that would affect your company so much?
Yeah, so I joined Barstool in 2016. Dave Portnoy started Barstool in 2004. I think he was betting long before that. So sports betting was always part of Barstool's DNA. Dave liked to bet. He liked to talk about his bets. He liked to complain about his bets. He brought on Barstool Big Cat, who was doing the same thing. So, I don't think we could have foreseen PASPA being repealed and what a tremendous change that would create for us as a company. But once we saw the winds change and the light at the end of the tunnel that this could be a reality in the U.S., we knew that was going to be a game changer for this company. Okay, great.
So once it did become legal, what kind of strategy did you have then? Did you approach other gaming companies or did they come to you?
Yeah, Barstool, we had been working with both FanDuel and DraftKings for years. And prior to that, Barstool had worked with Draft Street and really any iteration of daily fantasy, as well as, a lot of different betting companies, casinos and betting companies. We first really went about what I would call a rental strategy, whereby we had multiple sports betting and fantasy partners. We segmented them into different types of programming, and we really had a horse race, for lack of a better word, of bringing our audience, bringing our content, bringing our personality to bear, and ensuring that converted for multiple partners. And it obviously it had a positive effect on our revenue because everyone was competing for a finite set of assets at Barstool Sports. Beyond that, we started thinking really seriously about, would this be the exit for Barstool Sports, and should Barstool Sports ultimately be owned by a sports betting company, and should we, what would it look like if our brand became a sports betting brand? And so we set about having, a ton of conversations. There's really not many people in the industry we didn't talk to. And Penn ultimately became the right fit.
So what was it about Penn that made them so special?
There was a couple things about Penn. The first is that we got on with the Penn crew really well. Like it kind of, when you start a partnership, or you start to think about, could your company mesh up with somebody else's company? We had good chemistry from the start, which is really important to both Dave and myself. And I think it's important for a company like Barstool, which is kind of wears its heart on its sleeve and is what it is. And so partnership's really important to us. So we had a good feeling about them as partners. The second piece is Penn had everything we didn't, which was essentially guns, money, and steel. They had licenses, they had the casinos, they had a lot of margin, they have a national footprint, as the largest retail, regional casino operator. We had everything Penn didn't. We understood the internet better than anybody. We had a brand that, was beloved. We're making content in sports betting that I would say is some of the best content out there today. And so we knew, and we had a brand that was recognizable. In 2 years ago, not many people were talking about Penn or Penn National the way that they are now. And so what we felt is the marriage of those two things could be really successful and really great for both audiences.
Sure. So what has your relationship been with Penn now that you're in the trenches with them? You have to develop both land-based and online content. So how's that been working out so far?
It's been great. We've really enjoyed our partnership. We've collaborated. We've made a lot of different things happen. We've tried a lot of different promotions. We've, launched an app. We're gunning to be live in as many states as possible. So it, by all means, has been a sprint. Right. I think we've learned a lot from them.
Right.
And I think they've learned a lot from us, which is, I think, the best thing you can say from a partnership.
Sure, absolutely. So Penn owns 36% of Barstool right now, and they have an option to buy the entire company. So if that happens, when and if, how will your role and Dave's role change, if any?
That's a great question. So hopefully Jay will keep us.
Yeah.
But what I would foresee is, part of the reason Penn structured the investment in such a way as the acquisition would happen, 3 years out, was because they didn't have any experience with a media company,
right,
and an internet company, and we are decidedly an internet media company. And so what I would say is, in 3 years' time, I don't foresee there being a huge change in either Dave's role or mine. I think we'll take on additional, responsibility. I think we will bring the companies closer together. I think we may, we may operate some things slightly differently, but, at the end of the day, what we are trying to do is to grow a big, beloved sports betting brand. And we are looking to create an experience that is fun and rewarding for our audience. And we're looking to showcase that experience, promote that experience, engage people around that experience using content and the internet. Okay. And so that's the win. So, if and when Penn acquires Barstool, that's a really important part of their strategy, regardless of what the corporate structure is.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. So the thing that really makes Barstool attractive is the demographics you guys have. Jay was telling me that your demographics skew much younger than any of the other, even the DFS companies. The skew is younger than them. Why is that so important to your company and to Penn?
Yeah, I think that Barstool is one of the most culturally relevant brands for, anyone from an 18 to 55-year-old. And we've worked really hard to keep this brand hot for, almost 20 years, almost 2 decades, which is no small feat. And this brand means something. And it means something to an audience that is extremely discerning. They are very powerful. They have a lot of choice, and they're demanding customers. And so, why I think it's important to be young is that when you look at sports betting, sports betting in the US, as is in some ways still in its infancy.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And so you think about, hey, yeah, sure, it's great to get, the sharps and very established bettors. The average age of a television viewer, I think, is 64 years old. Sure, that group is great, but this business isn't going to mature fully for 5-10 years. And so what you really want is today's 18-year-olds. When they're 28, they're making some money, they have some disposable income, they're already loyal to your brand, they have your product, they spend a lot of time with you. That's why our audience being young and being highly engaged is very valuable.
Sure. Well, the Penn customer is a typical casino customer, and skews a lot older. And are you looking to expand in that way? I'm an old guy, and I enjoy the Barstool app.
I like that. We'll take anybody who likes Barstool, so you are very welcome. We'll take your bets too. No, I don't foresee us I do think that we will create some synergies with the regional casinos, right? If you look at next, we're doing by the time this comes out, we're doing a huge activation at Greektown. We're having a roller hockey tournament at Greektown with our hockey brand, which is called Spit and Chicklets.
Right.
We'll bring 2,000 people who want to play hockey, celebrate hockey to a downtown casino in Detroit. Mm-hmm. I think you'll see us do things like that. I don't think you'll necessarily see Barstool become a regional casino brand in its own right, but who knows? I could be wrong.
Right. Okay. Ranked at the top of the industry by software reviews, Konami's award-winning Synchros casino management system is available live for in-person demos during G2E next month. Casino professionals can try Konami's cashless wagering technology at the show and see how mobile apps like Sync Connect and Connectic are taking traditional casino touchpoints on the go at the top of the finger. Schedule an in-person demo for your casino team during G2E by visiting konamigaming.com/system. So, we all know that Barstool is much more than just a sports betting and gambling app. It's about a lifestyle. Does that make it more sticky than other sports betting apps?
Yeah, I think, I think consumers care about a bunch of things. I think they care about a good product. And there's a lot of really good sports betting products out there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of very sophisticated companies in this space. What our differentiator is that when you say the words Barstool Sports or Barstool Sportsbook or Big Cat or Dave Portnoy or Casey Smith or Ryan Whitney, it means something. It conjures up the idea of a person. And we have a brand that is human and flawed and fallible and magic and funny and self-deprecating and authoritative. We have all of those things. So when you think about today's sports bettor, sure, could they get the best, fastest experience on one of our competitors? Sure. But when they bet with Barstool Sports, it's like they're betting with Dave or they're betting with Big Cat, like they're part of something. And you cannot buy or strategize your way into being part of something. Mm-hmm. Being part of something means that you've created something that is memorable and stands for something and has feeling associated with it. And that's really, that's why we are so cultural.
Right. Absolutely. So Dave can be controversial sometimes. Mm-hmm. Is there any ever thought to calm him down a little bit to say, don't say that you'll offend people, or I don't get that sense at all that is possible.
I think that, I think Dave Portnoy has offended probably most every person out there. He's had a camera on him for 20 years. Right. And he's really put himself out there, and his thoughts, his humor, his opinion, his anger, his laugh, all of those, his laughter, all those things are out there. That's part of what makes Dave so compelling, right? We have millions and millions of people watch that man eat a slice of pizza 5 days a week. Right. If you can get people to watch you eat a slice of pizza 5 days a week, you are doing something that people like and they gravitate to. Right. I personally think that the notion that Dave is so controversial, I think it's overblown. And I think it's not accurate. I think Dave is outspoken, and I know Dave does not care what people think about him. Right. And I think those are two great things in growing a personality and a brand. So, and then the last thing I would say is Dave's a good business person. We wouldn't have been able to be this successful in such a dramatically short amount of time if Dave was a hothead who, was out sabotaging every deal I tried to create. Like Dave at his heart is a businessman, and we've built a really great business.
Yeah. Well, it looks like, you really look out for your core demographics, from the unboxing pizza products, during the pandemic, which gave visibility to struggling businesses, to the recent drive to raise money for small businesses that were negatively impacted during this time. It takes a compassion to do that. So I'm assuming that's not really planned to any extent. That really comes from the heart.
Yeah, it does. We kind of do it and then figure out how to do it is how I would describe us. We've done a lot of that. We saw, NCAA women's golfers were not able to play in their regional final in a way that we felt was really upsetting. So within 72 hours, we created an incredible golf tournament just for female athletes. The Barstool Fund, we've raised over $41 million for small businesses at a time when the government wasn't stepping up, the legislators hadn't stepped up, chambers of commerces hadn't stepped up. Like, we stepped up for small businesses. We didn't have a PowerPoint or a plan at the beginning of 2020 to say, hey, we're going to raise money for small businesses. It happened on a Friday afternoon. Right. We had it in motion by Sunday. Just today we announced that we're creating our own 501(c) for the Barstool Fund. So we'll continue to help small businesses. So there is a lot of compassion in this company. There's also a lot of, do it first and figure it out later, which I also think is part of what makes us so exciting, which is you never really know what we're going to do next. And to be honest with you, we don't really know either.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So in addition to the Barstool app, Penn has also branded its bricks and mortar sportsbooks as Barstool Sportsbooks. How do you ensure that the Barstool online experience translates to the in-person experience?
Yeah, that's very important to us. That's a great question. One of the things that's so important to us is that when you see Barstool, it's Barstool. It should look like Barstool. It should smell like Barstool. It should taste like Barstool. Right. So we're maniacs. If you ask the Penn people, we're maniacs about that. We are very eager to have our own line of sports bars. Right. We're not going to retrofit our brand into things that just don't feel right. Right. And, we're pretty ornery about that, I would say. But it's important because that's the fastest way to kill something, is to make it not stand for anything. Right. So is there any plans to get into other areas of gambling? I can see a Barstool branded slot machine, maybe a bonus blackjack bets on the blackjack table, those kind of things. I mean, it seems to make sense to me. And you all know that online casino makes a lot more than online sports books. Right. We've learned, Penn's taught us a lot about the casino business. And the casino business is a good business. So, I think, yes, you will see us get into different things. You'll see us, we're interested in horse racing. We're interested in poker. We're interested in iCasino. Right. All of those things. And I think this is only just the beginning of what we will ultimately do in this category and in this sector. And I think what you can be assured of is we will do it in a way that's uniquely Barstool. Right. Okay, great. So Barstool is a kind of irreverent business. How have you grown so quickly with that kind of attitude? I mean, it's really been impressive. Thank you. It's a lot of work. We've worked very hard. We are very comfortable being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. We are not afraid of risk. We are a 24/7 company. I mean, This place does not sleep. So I think those are some of the reasons. And then we also we understand the internet very well, and we understand what people want and how to give it to them. Mm-hmm. And we've gotten really organized and productized around how we do that. Okay. How do you find employees who really get it and create loyalty throughout the brand? I mean, that's hard. Everybody's having trouble doing that right now. That's the hardest thing. We've been fortunate in that we one, we just have eyes for the internet, so we can understand people who really work and can stand out on the internet.
Right.
I think in a way where we can get people earlier than anyone else can.
Right.
I think the second thing is we have an incredible college program.
Right.
Whereby we're finding people to intern for us when they're 18, 19 years old.
Right,
and by the time they enter the workforce, they get our brand. We've seen who's good and who's not good. So we're able to, we're able to have our pick.
Right.
When we post a job, we posted a job for a camera person and had 18,000 applicants. So
Wow.
We're fortunate in that people want to work here. We're really grateful for that, but we also want to choose the best.
Right. Okay, great. So what's next for Barstool? Anything you can reveal?
We have a lot going on. I think we'll have a big fall with the sports book. We are getting into the live rights business. So I think you'll start to see us broadcast games, which has been a Barstool dream forever.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'll be awesome. I think you'll see us create more products with our brands. And those are the big things. I think you'll see us add new and different personalities.
Great. Well, Erika, thanks for taking the time to join us. It was really good talking to you, and congratulations on your success here with Penn, and hopefully we'll see it grow in the next several years.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Hope you enjoyed this week's podcast with special thanks to Konami Gaming. Consider visiting their Synchros team at G2E or schedule a demo in advance at konamigaming.com/systems. To learn more about Penn National Gaming and its relationship with Barstool, visit ggbmagazine.com. For all the news of the gaming industry, particularly of the recovery from the pandemic, delivered to your desktop every Monday morning, sign up for free at ggbnews.com by using the coupon code GGB180. Don't miss a single episode of the podcast. Subscribe on iTunes or Spotify today. So we'll see you next time on the GGB Podcast.